That is absolute dynamite. And boom, it goes.
And boom, the layout goes. Slusta and Decran are on the move. To Decran!
Good morning and welcome to Grasshopper's Rugby Football Club ULTI.TV's coverage of the London Invite tournament here. We are into the semi-final round of the women's division. We have Iceni facing off against Smog. Iceni in the black. On the other side of your screen, you're currently looking at Smog here. In the booth is Ali Thomas. I'm joined by Jack McNamara. Jack, what are you looking forward to seeing in this game?
A lot. I think this should be a really exciting matchup. Iceni obviously have been doing really well so far this season, already qualified for Euros, so they should be a really strong team. And then Smog, haven't heard much about them, but they seem like they should give a good game. Lost one game yesterday at Bristol, but apart from that, this should be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, both teams will be hoping to play at the end of the season in Poland in the European Championships. As you said, Iceni have already locked up their position and are hoping to just be able to stay in that top 16. Smog are not using this tournament as a ranking event. But we see Morrison picking up, getting it to Hill to get us started. Slightly poachy look off the handlers from Iceni to start. Hyde to Hill. Looking upfield, but that's going to be a miscommunication, but kept alive. Looks like there's a down call from Christy Toe. Smog sideline calling it up.
That looked very up to me, I think.
I'll have another look here. Oh, I can see why she's calling it.
Yeah, no, that is a lot closer than I thought it was on the first glance.
Sideline asking if we had a perspective, but it's a bit too close to call. So Hunt will get it off to Hill. Hyde. Back to Hunt on the far sideline. Oh, and that's our first D of the game. Rodriguez smacking it to the ground in front of Hill. Iceni with their first break chance. Potter, she's got Rodriguez long. But that's going to be too far out in front. We have seen some incredible bids from Rodriguez this weekend, but that one's too far out in front even for her. So second chance, got Hill, who's really exploded onto the scene in recent years, representing GB in Nottingham at the under-24s. Not too long ago. Big, deep shot going. Oh, but it's going to be misread by Constantine. The wind does funny things in this stadium. It's quite gusty. So not the cleanest point from both these teams starting here. Chang on Coffin corner. Opens up, looking for Toe. Potter with acres of space, dishes back. Chang. Hannah Smith from the stack, hits the IO. Little stumble from Chan. Chan's turn to look at her reset, but a pick-up field will stop play. Chang streaking up the line, centres to Toe. Potter. And that's our first point of the game. Christy Toe hitting that front cone. Got there in the end.
That was some lovely pops, getting a disc up the line. Nice little run. It's good to see both these teams are liking their deep game, both willing to throw it and have good receivers to go and take those down.
Yeah, first game of the day. Huck's maybe a little bit rusty, getting used to the wind on this pitch.
Yeah, as you said, it is quite a blustery pitch, so those hooks don't always come out the same, even between points.
Yeah, the wind direction as well seems to kind of swirl around.
Yeah, I think yesterday it seemed a lot more one direction, but at the moment it seems to be blustering both ways.
Yeah, they say a bit of a breeze is a thrower's wind, but this is really nobody's wind, I think.
That is true. That is true.
So Iceni for this tournament have 2 lines, an O and a D line, to build chemistry, but they are not sticking to O line comes out on O, D line comes out on D. It's just alternating. So
very interesting. I like that strategy. It's great for getting your team used to your line doing what they don't normally do, especially if you have a line that usually is better or winning games. O line might not have to play a lot of D.
Yeah.
So it's great to get them coming out on that.
Yep. So as that was an Iceni break, we've now got the Iceni O line coming out on D. Looks like Smog have kept their same line that was on, but it's not worked out for them.
Just a miscommunication there, I think, on the cut.
Very short field for Kwan. Iceni setting up in a vertical stack. Getting that front cut off to Van Zyl. Looks off Lenton. Kwan cutting into the same space. She's got Roland at the back of the end zone, but looks reset instead. Breaks around to Van Zyl. That's a lovely round. Hanton now. Lenton gets it under, and a pick on Maddie Leong.
This Iceni O-line seemed very comfortable with those around breaks.
Van Zyl as well has such a fantastic round break. The way she can extend her wrist so far gets her more reach than she has any right to. And that's a lovely bladey flick from Kwan to Leong, and that is another Iceni break.
When you have the O-line coming out and they get a short field turn, it's hard to not see them putting the disc in.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Smog, we'll see if they put the same line out again or some kind of hybrid. I think this might, I know it's early in the game, but a timeout wouldn't be a terrible call here.
No, especially your O-line comes out broken twice to start the game. You do need a bit of a reset to get the heads in line. If you can lose your head very early if you don't take the proper time.
So we'll see a couple of new faces. Yeah, looks like the O-line are walking off. Let's see what this line can do with the wind in the Iceni D line now, which will be coming out.
I do like that play, changing up the lines, give your O-line a bit of a break. Maybe a timeout would have been a better play, but give the D line a go. Maybe they have the throws in them in this blustery wind.
Could be. I think this D-line will be going roughly upwind. At least that's what it feels like in the booth. The wind coming from left to right.
Yeah. Lovely.
Smog, hose stack. Iceni continuing to poach off the handlers. Smog getting the resets off. That's a nice shot through the middle. Not a lot of continuation though. McCabe. Looking upfield. Hits low. Back to McCabe. Oh, and that's going to be too high for the reaching hands of Chung, but that was looking a lot nicer up until that point. The flow was a lot better.
Yeah, as you said, just a few continuations more and that could have been...
Oh, Booth opens up to Toe, but Toe had to read that over her shoulder, couldn't quite reel it in.
Yeah, that was a tough disc to catch, coming over your shoulder on the blind side.
Yeah, I think Toe wasn't quite expecting it. That's a very narrow field huck. Chung on the front of the end zone. Oh, just dinged and brought down by Melvin Tang. Oh, but bounces off the hands.
So Iceni D-line is liking to play the disc very quickly off the turns. I don't know if they might be better off taking a bit of time to set their structure.
Yeah, it's so tempting to get that disc moving quickly when you're quite near the end zone.
Yeah. Maybe take advantage of the defense not being fully switched on yet, but you do run the risk of
your offense not being switched on as well. High disc, well caught. McCabe in the middle, but a stoppage on play. Oh, it looks like Healy is limping off. Looks like she might have just tweaked her ankle there. So Rodriguez will take her place.
Feels like the wind is picking up as well in the booth.
Oh, wobbly round. Toe will get the D, but a foul will be called by Chung. See if we've got another look at that. Hard to say on our monitor. Looks like Smog will retain possession. So an accepted foul. Anderson. Oh, and that's a really unfortunate drop, giving Iceni a very short field. Wu to Chang. Gets low. Christy Toe. Ah, she's got Rodriguez streaking across the break side. Resets instead. Gets it straight back. Continuation from Booth a little late. Still can't rise and gets the lefty off. Melvin Tang streaking across the front of the end zone. Couple of double cuts there. No reset.
This goes up.
Oof, and down again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that started to look slightly frantic. A lot of cuts going into the same space.
Yeah, must have just been a late stall, put up.
Oh gosh. Yeah, both teams I think losing a little bit of focus in this wind. So Iceni with the second chance at an end zone set.
I mean, as a D-line, this is something you'd practice. This is where you hope to get those turns.
Oh gosh. Oh my
What
God.
a grab.
An incredible play from Christy Toe. She's so good on D, and then she can also absolutely stretch herself out to get that. Her plaster coming off, you can see she's done this already this weekend.
She is having an incredible time on this D-line.
Can't wait to see this replay.
I thought it could have been taken in the wind, but she managed to reel it in.
Oh,
What a grab.
absolutely incredible.
What a grab.
I think even Rodriguez would have had to make a play. Like, that's not a case of there's somebody right behind,
No.
you know, waiting to catch it.
There was a bit of a gap between them.
Absolutely heroic. So yeah, Iceni with 3 breaks on the bounce. Smog not really seeming to have an answer, but I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, no shade to the Iceni D-line, but there's been a lot of unforced errors from Smog so far.
There has. No, if they manage to get their heads in, yeah, especially the upwind is tough as well in this weather.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen a timeout yet.
That is very true. Well, their O-line just got a bit of a rest because that was a long point, so maybe they're hoping to see what they can do here.
Yeah, true. So Hill will brick that. Being marked by Kwan. A little bit of confusion about where exactly the brick mark is. There are a lot of lines on this field. Takes the open swing to Morrison. On this sideline now, having to break upwind on this crosswindy pitch. Gets it off to Constantine instead. Constantine looking into the middle of the pitch. Oh, dishes, but an interception from Hansen. Just steals that one away there. Body with plenty of space under. Gets the IO off, late IO to Roland. Hampton. Iceni getting into their vertical stack. Leong knocking on the door. A little bit stagnant in the stack. But quick disc movement. Body to Roland. 4-0 Iceni.
Iceni just seeming a lot more calm and a lot more able to play this upwind. The cuts just looking a little bit cleaner from Iceni. They're creating space and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I think this looks like some people are gearing up for a timeout, but Morrison's striding onto the line. Nope, no timeout. Saving them for an emergency, I guess.
Yeah, run it back.
There's not really much we can say. Maybe seeing Smog switch up their offense, try a vertical stack just to do something different, you know, kind of try and throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, they need to just maybe clog a little bit less. Maybe a vertical stack would help that, and it would get everyone in a defined place rather than people kind of being spread across the pitch. But it is always hard to switch up your style of play. I feel like most teams don't really have a haro on a vertical. They prefer one or the other, and switching it up mid-game seems like a tough thing to do.
You would hope most teams can play haro and vert, though.
Yes, this is true. When players are around long enough, they definitely should be able to do both. Bit of a side stack.
Yeah, getting some nice isolation upfield. Constantine. This is very nice from Smog.
Lovely. Yeah, they created the space and they were able to then take advantage.
Yeah, that was a completely different Smog to the one we've seen the rest of the game. That was lovely.
So we went for a bit of a 50-50 between the haro and the vert and just set a side stack.
Yeah, I think you're right. The clogging was a real problem, so forcing that space to open up with the side stack was a really smart play. Lovely floaty throws, just super easy to run onto.
They just created so much space there, and it was just it seemed like they were just hitting open throws. It seemed completely different to what we've seen so far.
So a much needed hold for Smog there. And looks like the Iceni O-line will actually get to play some O after a couple points of D.
See how they fare.
So we have the graphic on screen. Currently, this is the bracket. So on the other side, we have Bristol versus Spice, who did not play each other in the pool. We don't, I believe, have live scores on that. But there will be more exciting women's action. Got Pope to Long. Lenton on that low sideline. She's got Taylor deep. Gets the massive undergainer instead. Really nicely set up cut. Lenton in the backfield. Swings across to Long. Oh, looking for body. But that's going to be
I don't know if that was
away.
a miscommunication or
execution.
execution.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great option. I think because this disc is, the wind is a bit crossy, if you do that outside in, the wind kind of pushes it up and away.
Yeah.
So Smog with their first, well, with a break chance. And that is a high disc. That's lovely.
Lovely find.
Knocking on the door of the end zone. Getting into that vertical stack. Isolated front. Oh, and that's a really unfortunate drop. I think just thinking about that next pass, she was right outside the end zone.
But also, again, a lot better at not clogging the space there. And you can see the disc moving a lot better when they do that.
Pope to Taylor. Oh. Lenton opens up to the middle of the pitch. That's a lovely throw to body. Smog doing a little bit of their own poaching off the handlers. Stopping some of the flow. Leong's got Pope deep. Sends it. That's beautifully weighted. Oh, but it's just going to be too high. Yeah, again, it's that slight outside-in edge that's going to lift discs up and over the hands of receivers.
Yeah, and I think McCabe coming in scared her a little bit, and she went up a little earlier than she would have otherwise.
Quite a slow walk from Quinn. These long points can really start to tire you out.
Yeah, you take all the break you can get.
Smog back. Oh, that is a really unfortunate miscommunication. And well taken by Taylor. Plasm Scott streaking in, but under a lot of pressure makes the catch. We're at 5-1.
Yeah, that was just a great cut. Recognizing the turnover was people were moving a bit slowly and taking advantage.
I will say I'm a little bit surprised at some of these Smog miscommunications. A lot of these women have played together on the Smog mixed side for many years, and now they've had, you know, season working together on the women's side.
Yeah, it does just feel like there's a little bit of people are just on a bit of a different page to each other. It still is relatively early season, I guess, so there is time to figure that out.
I guess the real question is how many of them went to the party, and is that affecting
This
any
is
of their
true.
play? Did you go?
I was there for a while. Good fun, salty on the decks.
God, really? So Iceni D-line once again on D.
To's been having a game. Let's see if she keeps that up.
Former Spice player. Made the switch to Iceni 3 years ago, I believe. So Smog with their horizontal stack again. Ooh. Oh, that's going to be over the hands, but well read by Hyde. Dishes to Ratoot. That's a high disc. No problem for Hill though. Collinso. Oh, and that's just an execution error. Too much zip on that for Hill. Trying to get that disc moving a little too quickly. Not quite setting herself for the throw, it looks like. Toe with separation deep, but that's twice now they haven't hit her. High disc. Too high for Wu. Looking deep immediately.
Lovely throw outside the end zone.
Yeah, not quite in. Collinso.
And they got it.
Gets it off, keeps her head. And gosh, bit of a back and forth there. Smog put it in eventually.
Some great quick movement there to get the disc in the end. What a lovely hook. That flick hook, I thought that was going in, but straight off the turn, as we were saying earlier, to take it slower, they prove us wrong and just straight D into a perfect flick hook.
I think both teams have been holstering a lot of the static hucks that led to turnovers earlier on in the game, so we are seeing fewer hucks, and the ones that are coming off do seem to be a little bit more accurate.
Yeah.
Plasm Scott there, tapping her face, maybe trying to wake herself up a little bit.
Yeah, Smog do go through very clean periods of O, and then it seems like just a bit of a miscommunication, maybe, as you're saying, a bit tired from last night, but just causing those unfortunate turns.
It's a long way to travel also, all the way up north down to London.
Yeah.
Smog's got a bit of a shorter roster than Iceni as well, which on a longer tournament like this one can start to take its toll. Stifling Smog defense, preventing any upfield passes. Pick call will stop play. Pope gets it off to Nosovic. Big throw from Nosovic, beautifully weighted for Hanton. And that is a lovely Iceni point.
They were some great throws. Oh, hold on, there's a violation or something.
Oh, stall out
Stall out.
being signalled. So they'll have a chat about it.
Those were 3 great throws in a row, though, just cascading down the open side.
Contested stall outs being signalled. Do it again. So disc going back, all the players jogging back to where they were when the call occurred. So it will be coming in, stalling 9.
It's always hard to put a disc in the second time and a point, so we'll see if they manage to do it.
Oh, guts it off to Potter. Dishes to Kwan. Getting deeper into the end zone. Breaks around. Lovely throw. Into the middle for Nosovic. Kwan with momentum and Taylor deep. That's usually a surefire, but a couple of cuts in front. Oh, and a fantastic run through D from Emily McCabe. Striding across decisively, and that's a nice short field turn for Smog. Smog in a 1-6. Gets the IO shot to Plasm Scott, which is a long name to fit on the back of a shirt. Getting the resets off to McCabe. Nice swing to the center. Low. Very, very close to the end zone now. Showing good patience. And that is a Smog break, their first of the game.
And just like that, the game is back on. Smog have obviously shown that they don't need that timeout. They kept running those lines and have gotten their first break.
Yeah, timeouts are for the weak and undetermined, I think, Smog is saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that looked very clean. That when they had the disc there, they didn't make very many mistakes, and yeah, just isolating people, getting them free. Very clean.
Yeah, and that was a lot of small ball, not a lot of kind of frantic flow, just, you know, looking upfield, trusting the cutters to get free, and get free they did.
Yeah, great play, great play. You wonder what Iceni are thinking now. They feel like they got that start really good, but are you now worried that Smog have figured you out? Of know how to get those Ds, and the wind picking up there again.
Yeah, I can hear it blustering and see it shaking the marquee that we're in. Sorry, I mean our booth. So, looks like the Iceni looks like almost like a hybrid line. No, it is their D line. Just not used to Hannah Smith being on the D line. Chang to Booth. Breaks inside to Toe. And Rodriguez breaks Plasm Scott's ankles, absorbs a bit of contact, no call. Toe streaking back up. Oh
and
my
what
God.
A catch.
Incredible leaping catch from Frances Mack. Looks like she landed a little bit awkwardly, but she's doing fine. Really lovely point from everyone there.
They're making the big highlight plays today.
There will, of course, be a Kennington Doghouse play of the game. I think Toe's layout there and also now Mack's catch there are probably in contention for that.
Iceni just throwing themselves around. Great to see. That was a great catch through contact.
Oh, yeah, landing on that knee.
The knee landings are they're interesting. Not my preferred strategy, but does the job.
Yeah.
Gets to the skin.
Yeah, and I guess this 5G surface is a little bit softer than the ground is at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
We had a fair bit of rain on Friday night, but since then it's been pretty dry.
I had heard today was going to be lashing rain, but apparently we've been lucky to keep that off.
Yeah, there's some greyish looking clouds in the distance, but nothing too ominous. It's a nice pull, fielded by Hyde to Hill. Iceni looking like almost more of a junky arrowheady setup, but it's just off the handlers and then tight upfield.
Yeah, just stopping them getting that upward momentum.
Yeah, but Smog happy to swing and gain yards. High grab. Nothing through the middle, gets it to Hill. Oh, who looks long. A little bit too long, unfortunately.
Yeah, they managed to find a gap through it, but unfortunately just a little bit over the top.
It's such a shame. I think if Smog had completed all their hucks, we'd be in a much, much tighter game.
Yeah, it's just this wind. It's hard to judge exactly where it's going to go. The weighting is different to normal.
Body. He's got Van Zyl under. Roland. Looks off Pope. And again. Gets it to Lenton instead. Van Zyl. Iceni making nice use of the width of the pitch. Swinging across. Big shot goes up to Pope. It's got the wrong angle on it. And a foul's going to be called straight away. What do you think about that call, Jack?
Did she put her hand on her? It's hard to see. It looked clean, but I don't know what the level of contact was between them.
I think it's a really hard catch to make at the best of times with that disc kind of trailing away from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there's a little bit of an elbow action, but I'm not sure Pope's getting there anyway.
Yeah. Like retracted. It's probably the right call there.
Yeah. Oh, and that's going to go straight to the floor.
That is unfortunate.
Iceni picking it up. Resets to Pope.
Oh, a lovely around break.
Seasoned handler, Cat Pope. Breaking round Leong. So we're at 7-3. Iceni getting another break in. They hadn't had breaks for a while since we were at 4-0, but they're keeping that 4-point lead in place.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you need. If you can get that lead early on, you just need to hold it, get your row out, holding the disc.
Looks like timeout's going to be called, so we will take a short break and be right back after these messages.
Lightspeed VC, a global venture capital firm, proud to sponsor excellence and team cohesion worldwide.
And we are back. Timeout there. Give Iceni a bit of or Smog a bit of a break. We were talking about that earlier, and it seems they waited till nearly half to take that timeout.
Yeah, so pretty dominant performance from Iceni so far. Smog struggling a little bit with execution in this wind. We have seen some flashes of brilliance from them, some really nice flow, and then seems like an execution area brings it all crashing back down. But we'll see what this timeout can bring.
If they can find those passes, Smog could very easily make a comeback in this game.
They say Ultimate's a game of runs, so Iceni had a big one early on, but anything can happen. We've seen teams come back from 8-point deficits before. Nice pull to Morrison, nearly running into Wu there. Breaks, but that's going to be caught by the wind. Potter walking it up to the sideline just in front of our booth.
Just unfortunate those overthrows are kind of killing them at the moment.
Toe to Mac. Chan in the middle of the field. Potter again. Rodriguez. Back to Potter. Booth. Wide open. Yeah, Smog not really challenging these open side cuts currently. High stall. And that's going to be battered away by Hyde.
Lovely
Big shot.
throw.
Oh.
Great box.
Yeah, no call.
And they seem to have.
Oh, well read by Hill.
Yeah, they just need to calm down a little bit.
Hyde
That's their plays.
to Hill. Nice round shot. Round again. Hill. Oh, that's unfortunate. That was a really nice patience up until that point.
Yeah, they were doing some great movement of the disc. Keeping it alive. Oh.
Opens up to Chan. Oh my God, how on earth did she hang on to that? Incredible grab.
That is a fingertip catch.
Puts it out. Oh, bit of conservation of greatness there. Just got a little bit too excited seeing toe free in the end zone.
Hard not to go for that when you see her free. But again, the wind is just playing havoc with this disc.
Really blustery. So Smog with another chance to stave off half. Big throw to Tessa Hunt. There's a couple of shirts underneath it. Rodriguez is going to get out in front. Looks like Hunt's going to call a foul.
I don't know about that. When you put a disc up that high with that many people under it, it's hard for a bit of contact not to happen.
See it again. Maybe a bit of contact on the hands as she went up.
Yeah, I find those are so hard. If it's sent up into the air, it's hard to call a foul on the contact that ends up happening.
Chan giving her perspective. Still talking. I think this might be a point where we just contest it and send it back if we can't agree.
Yeah. It's been over a minute now. You probably just send that back.
So that will be contested. So we are back with Izzy Ratoot on the sideline. Looking for Morrison in the reset space. Great handler D from Wu. Constantine opens up, hide the target. Oh, that's a fantastic defensive play from Potter.
That was great positioning. High points it. Perfect.
This has been a very grindy game.
Yeah, for sure.
Toe free under, but some nice work from Hyde on the mark stops that. Safe hands of Booth, carry that in. Potter. Booth. Gets it to Chan. Iceni cutters are great at just dishing it off to the handlers. Really keeping that flow going. Big shot. Is it going to sit enough for Mac? Sadly not.
Yeah, those hooks down that direction are all just overcarrying. I think people have just not quite adjusted to the strength of the wind yet in that direction. Morrison there going to pick up the disc. And they're making cuts. There's free in the middle, but just does not find it. A nice short field turn here for Iceni. Let's see if they can put it in. Toe. Sits it up. They're working very well at popping this disc through the middle and finding space. Booth out to the open side for a nice easy score. That'll take us into half. Some great play by Iceni. Smog are just seeming a little bit overwhelmed at the moment. But yeah, this was some great play, finding open people. And then a great cut by Booth out to the open side for the score. We're about to head for a halftime break now, and we'll be back after.
Shopping Zillow and need a trusted resource for your real estate questions? Want to check on loan pre-approval? Reach out to HomeForce, an all-in-one home buying service engineered for ultimate players, fans, and friends. The HomeForce team provides services in real estate, mortgage financing, insurance, and much more. No pressure, no commitment, just trusted advice. I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
incredible.
Yeah, look, all of my friends going crazy. I gotta brag on myself.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Back in action then here, day 2 of London Invite women's semi-final action. Iceni versus Smog. Iceni carrying an 8-3 lead into the half-time. Benji Reese alongside Jack McNamara. Jack, how would you sum up that first half?
It was a very runny half where Iceni seemed to take that early lead, and then Smog seemed like they were going to come back. They got that break, but Iceni then managing to just hold out and yeah, keep them at bay. Looking very clinical at the moment.
Of course, more than just pride on the line, because the winner in each division gets a big £1,000 novelty check, and I've been reliably informed they do actually have the big novelty checks as well, which is the real prize. Trying to break it off the line. Nice swing to start. Continuation a little low, but not a problem. Quan in the underneath space. Finding the inside window off the hands there of Amy Fansale. Smog with a chance to break to start the second half. It's Quinn to pick up. Low and back off the hand to give the disc back to Iceni. Smog maybe a slightly surprised semi-finalist. They had a huge win over Yaka yesterday morning and then ended up sealing second spot in the pool to get their semi-final place here, with the Londoners Iceni going undefeated in pool play yesterday. There's a deep shot. Well tracked in by Fansale. Quan burns up line. Not on this occasion though, just going to get the leader inside. Now continuing to Maddie Long. Quan again, putting it out into space, but too far into space. Maybe struggling to get into a rhythm a little bit after that half-time break. Backhand low towards the far side is collected. And down the line with a trailing edge. Superb work to make sure she tied it in bounds as well from Quinn. Wants the swing to get it off that line trap, finds low. Iceni doing a very good job of preventing too much downfield separation, so they take the low percentage option down the far sideline and cannot connect. Impressed with Iceni's defense on the turn. Maddie Long has Quan turn and burn up line. Not quite in the end zone just yet. And Osovitz makes the first cut, not thrown to. And then the second one, good low catch on the shoestrings there to get Iceni on the board to start the second half. The ever speedy Ellie Taylor with the score.
Yeah, that was a fantastic grab. Maybe making it a little bit more difficult than she would have liked, but a great take.
We had a windy day yesterday here in London. Conditions similar to yesterday, maybe not quite as strong.
Yeah, it's. I feel a little bit more blustery today. Yesterday was very one directional, very upwind, downwind. Yeah, the wind is just a bit more stop-start, which I guess makes the throws a bit harder because you don't really know what the wind is like on the other side of the pitch.
Especially when we've got a slightly stadium effect here on this main showcase field with the big clubhouse and grandstand in the background. That, you know, especially when you get towards the end zones and you're a little bit more exposed, those winds can play havoc with you a little bit. So it's, yeah, sometimes you just have to second guess yourself ever so slightly.
Yeah, for sure, and not something that we usually see that often at tournaments. Normally the pitches are a lot more open, so the wind doesn't really have that kind of stadium effect.
I think it's one of those things that there was a time when the stadium effect wind was kind of just a theory, but I feel like over the years now there's been enough evidence and proof that it feels like it's a real thing.
Yeah. So a lovely pull to start us off.
Morrison Fields on the full. First pass to Hill. Taking on the break backhand. Ripped down the sideline. It's going to come back in bounds, but it looks like it's always too far for Even Hunt, who is more than a willing deep runner.
I think she just hesitated there. I think she thought she was going to come back under and then saw the disc go up. Unfortunate, but I'm liking this this side stack that Smog are doing. It's giving them a lot more room and creating a lot more open chances.
Iceni then looking for the break. I don't think this has got the right edge in it, and indeed it's comfortably out of bounds and is going to come right back in up that sideline, giving the Northerners excellent field position. Just going to see exactly where Emily Hill brings it in. Player with plenty of international experience, having come through the various GB junior programs. A few yards away, wanting to take on the break backhand, nice and early. They isolated the space, and the throw was delivered cleanly, as it needed to be, to Tessa Hunt for the score.
Yeah, great cut, creating that separation up the line to the open side. Yeah, getting someone isolated in that end zone is the perfect play for that.
How do you try and stop a quite choreographed option like that?
I think the main way would be having a bit more poaching from the stack. They did seem to be playing very tight, which right in front of the end zone doesn't always work because one person gets 2 yards free, it's a goal. You have to be a bit more willing to give some stuff up.
Got to trust that your teammates are going to adapt their positioning to fill any gaps you might leave.
Yeah, for sure.
You have been theoretically playing in the Open Division for Brooklyn Blueprint this weekend, but I understand you've had a little bit of an injury.
Yeah, unfortunately, on this pitch, the Astro just doing a job on my knee. Yeah, we'll get an MRI tomorrow for a bit more reconnaissance. Hopefully it's not the end of the season, but you never know.
Yeah, touch wood that it's something relatively minor. Of course, these two sides will look to be in the picture for European qualification at the end of the season. Iceni with a strong start feel like they could well be that team, but overthrown. Pope tried to scoop it with a trailing edge and it just tailed away from her. Good break opportunity here for Smog. Looking towards the far sideline, the body's committed to the line. Wasn't quite
able to keep that in.
Yeah, the space closed quickly enough. I like Smog taking on these aggressive breaks, really trying to stretch the width of the field against the Iceni defense.
Yeah, when they come off, they just create such good options to follow on.
They're zoning here, and Iceni gonna take their turn to use the width of the field and really spread and stretch the front of this Smog defense. Able to work past that front line. Now they've got space in behind. Body. Dishing it off to Hanton. Anosevic looking for options. Sliding to the floor to make the catch is Lenton, and now a little bit of a leader that's not quite going to get Body all the way into the end zone, but the next pass to Anosevic will get the job done. Once, obviously the first possession kind of fizzled out before it ever really started for Iceni, but the second one against that Smog zone didn't seem flustered at all.
No, that zone did not seem to slow them down in the slightest. They got one breakthrough and they were very happy to just keep moving that disc and almost just staying in front of the main trap of the zone.
I felt like they spaced it out really well. It was just classic fundamentals. We're going to swing our way around the back, and when you're kind of shuttling laterally from one side to the other, we'll hit that little inside space that you leave. And once they got past the front line, yeah, they kind of put the foot down a little bit, use that pace and tempo to accelerate so it can catch up.
Yeah, they were willing to just keep running, and yeah, they made probably 50 meters in the space of about 10 little short passes.
So I see Smog there getting an offensive line ready. James Bullen on coaching duties for Smog this weekend. See the tall figure of Jamie Rabbits leading the troops for Iceni, just jogging off the field in that I call it a baby blue sun hoodie. I must say I'm happy that more coaches, that more teams are embracing, having a proper designated full-time coach who can kind of make those management decisions during the course of a game that you're not always best placed to make yourself.
Oh, it makes a huge difference having someone not playing to be able to make those calls.
Morrison with a big pump before going back to Hill. Trying to bounce it through. The front line is quite close in, but they do have that swing option to the far side. Need to move it before the trap comes on. Just a little bit static, I feel, here, Smog.
Yeah, that was a good trap on the sideline, but Smog managed to break out. Great grab.
High, but taken with aplomb, and now they do have space working down that far side of the field. Iceni on the transition, then going to one-on-one defensively. And Smog utilising the wonderful break side flow. Tessa Hunt again is called upon in the end zone for her third goal, along with an earlier assist.
Yeah, that zone did not seem to phase Smog at all. Interesting seeing Iceni do it right after Smog put on their zone.
Sometimes it's a little bit of monkey see, monkey do, in the sense of, maybe we could try that, see how it works.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be the last of the zones we see from either team, based on how well they managed to work through them.
Yeah, neither of them seemed to cause particularly much problem. Just going to show you our play of the game, brought to you thanks to our friends at the Kennington Doghouse. You see winding up and uncorking that deep shot with a sticky catch with defender right on the shoulder. And then working it in transition and another high catch, getting that knee to land in bounds there from Mac. And you can see it again from the low angle as well. I think you've got to take your shots on when you feel that they're available. If you don't, the offense does get so compressed, and yeah, nice that maybe that final catch was a little bit higher than they wanted, but still able to get the job done. Iceni back on offense, and as you suggested, they might, Jack Mac. They've got rid of that zone and gone back into one-on-one.
Yeah, it does seem to be working better for them.
Leading Quan further into the backfield. Now trying to spread it wide. Taylor's isolated in space. There is a stoppage. Potential pick maybe, I'm not sure.
I think she's saying a push-off, I think, foul. Uncontested.
Yep, good use of hand signals. Very much appreciate that. Makes our lives a lot easier, which is obviously the main reason they brought those hand signals in. That one was really fizzed downfield and enough pressure applied that the sticky catch would not stick.
McCabe's been great at running through those, running through the disc on D, and just putting that pressure, it makes people turn over, second guess themselves.
Now unable to connect with Anderson downfield. They've done well to generate themselves a fair few D-line possessions, Smog, but haven't got anything cooking after the turn, really. Not in the second half, anyway.
Yeah, they're just struggling with that, those connections.
Anderson up against Inosevic, and Inosevic again trying to fire it in there. The layout could not get underneath the disc and scoop it. Iceni not afraid to take the shots if they think they're there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm liking their play when they're just moving and popping it between each other. I'm not sure they need to be going for those big plays all the time, but we do appreciate a big play.
Again, trying to take the break of force on nice and early, but it doesn't pay off. Quan, Pope activates as the reset nice and early. Now Funsale. Going to go wide to Pope, continuing here to Quan. And stretching that out. Oh, it's tipped, but there's a second opportunity here, is there? No, through the rugby posts at the back. Lenton probably a little frustrated that she could only tip it further and out of reach.
That was some great breakside play by Iceni. I think that was 3 breaks straight across the pitch.
Fundamental dump swing offense there.
Yeah.
Once you've got that first break gone, just continue to really punctuate it. Continuing downfield, here's a deep shot for Smog, well tracked over the head.
She had the read on that as well. It was just a bit unfortunate on the grab.
Yeah, on the reach, rattles out of Chu's hand. Quan doesn't have a force for a while, but not seeing anything downfield, swings to Pope instead. Now high, Funsale on the second attempt. He's going to see it knocked to the floor by Smog, generating themselves a late break chance here. With the cap rules this weekend, I feel like there is not enough time for a Smog comeback here, but still want to try and finish strong. That one in and out of Anderson's grasp. Bid came flying through there from Taylor.
A lovely find on the throw. But
so there's no call, so we'll just get back into play. Pope tight to this sideline. Finding the underneath option and quickly dished out of Lenton's hands. Now Taylor, intercepted. Smog continuing to generate these break opportunities. Anderson now, looking for the leader into space. Catch stuck under pressure. To the end zone, no, not quite, just on the doorstep. Taking the little dish behind to Quinn. Quinn still not in yet. High release backhand down the line, and it was agonizingly close for Smog, but it was not to be.
yeah, that was a very nice play by Smog. They got the disc moving, but just a little bit too much on that last throw.
The signal has gone to indicate end of game. Anderson there trying to steal in front of Inosevic, who calls foul on contact. Still going to have the discussion about when the contact occurred, how much of an effect did it have on the play. Can't quite capture it from that angle. Looks like it is going to be an accepted foul call, so it will stay in Nosovic's possession. The Australian trying to activate Freya Lenton and hits. Lenton now back to Kwon. Superb acrobatics on the catch. Taylor, the burner. Part of that GB World Game squad 3 years ago, as was Kwon, who has it now. Fun sale. Doesn't want the backhand, going to redirect the traffic towards the open side. Taylor central instead. Doing a good job of really threatening those break side options, and the around fake opens up the inside. And Nosovich wants and gets Kwon. Now Fansale. Really good methodical possession this from Iceni. Lenton a few yards from pay dirt. Back to Kwon, who stretches wide, and the continuation surely is there for Iceni, and indeed they are able to punch it in. It took them far more tries than I'm sure they would have liked. Big suck of air in there by Pope at the end of it. But that final possession was really clean there for Iceni.
Yeah, they made, just don't even know how many passes, but they just kept the disc and they were very clean, very efficient, getting those breaks off when they needed to. Kwon played a great role at changing up the line of attack.
In the other semi-final, Spice have a late lead on Bristol, 9-8. If Bristol are not able to find the comeback, then it would be a pool play rematch in the final of Iceni versus Spice. And you have a look there. Of course, Bristol undefeated yesterday, as were Iceni, and while Iceni look like they're following through with that today, Bristol in a bit of a jam against that upstart Spice squad. So on Sunday, as opposed to the cap rules yesterday, standard cap +1 for the semis and finals, there is the man, well, I say the man, the hat, the myth, the legend, Tom Styles with the signature Akubra. Glad handing there with Sam Hill, who is the UKU youth coordinator. Tells me there's going to be 60 teams at UK Junior Nationals this year, which I think is a great sign for the British game, which hasn't always had the strongest junior scene. Here's Sam's sister, Emily. Lucy Hyde sneaks that one through well to Hill, who holsters. Not sure I'd have had that same discretion. Constantine back towards the far sideline. Hyde putting a bit of air underneath it, but that is a well-weighted and well-judged shot to Colenso for Smog to just extend the game, still with a huge ask here, but I mean, we have seen them generate turnovers.
Yeah, there hasn't been very many completely clean holes in this game, so if Smog managed to take their chances,
yeah, it's just
I don't want to say it could happen, but
hey, well, the great thing about the game is that you have to get that last point in, and Iceni have only had the one clean hold all game. So they're doing a good job of creating those opportunities, but they just need to sharpen up a little bit on the turn for that D-line, which I think they'll probably be aware of.
yeah, it's just a few miscommunications or a little bit of an overthrow is killing them at the moment.
Smog getting some final instruction on board. Of course, the winner plays the winner of the other semi-final, Bristol versus Spice. Rounds are slightly offset this afternoon. The final taking place slightly delayed compared to the other rounds, just so that there's a bit more kind of time and spectacle around them. Thank you for, of course, becoming a YouTube channel member and getting more London Invite access. Long goes to Kwon, and then Pope on the sideline, continuing to want this swing with Smog coming in the zone again. Interesting decision.
Very interesting option for a last, trying to stop them winning. Oh no.
I feel like the last time they brought the zone out, it wasn't necessarily that effective, so surprised to see them go back to it here.
Iceni, when they have the open player, very rarely miss.
And already they've marched their way down into the red zone. Long. Just meters away, there is a pick. Saw the hand signals and Kwon knew it as well, but had to make the catch anyway. And you can see why there would be a pick, because it's very cluttered around that handler space. Leon going back to Kwon. Tosses the backhand into the center. Body with the around that's too high and too far.
Here's one of those options we were talking about for Smog.
They transitioned from that zone into a match defense very effectively. Tanderson initiates underneath. And now bounced well through the center, all off the hands. That's slightly maddening for Quinn, as Iceni are going to shoot it instantly, and Maddie Long makes the catch to seal Iceni's finals berth.
Yeah, great quick play there. Keeping the heads up. Iceni will be happy to get that final spot.
Yeah, chance to play for the £1,000 grand prize and the all-important novelty check, of course. Yeah, a strong performance then from the Londoners. Maybe not as clean as they would have liked, but a big, good, strong win over a Smog side that has certainly caught the eye here at the London Invite through their Saturday performance and results. And for Smog, still a chance to capture a bronze medal, but Iceni with a chance at the main event this afternoon. Jack, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary booth.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure indeed. You see there just so many more breaks from Iceni. Cleaner overall, although Smog's offense itself actually maybe was when they... I'm forgetting the huge run that Iceni had at the start, of course. I feel like once they got that sorted, Smog, it was better, but they just gave themselves such a lot of work to do.
Yeah, when you put yourself in a hole that early, it's very tough to come back. And that is ultimately what made the difference in this game.
The other game is 9-all. That is Universe Point, and if you want to watch that, switch over for a little bit. Can't say that I would blame you. Thanks very much for watching here on ULTI.TV's coverage of London Invite. We move into the mixed semi-finals. Up next, we have Germany versus Canada and USA versus Australia. Here is what that bracket looks like then at the moment, just down to that very final point for Bristol against Spice. And yes, as we mentioned, here's our next slate of games for you. Canada versus Germany, the Canada and Australia U24s battling it out, and USA versus Australia. Thanks very much for watching our coverage here of London Invite 2025. For Jack McNamara, if I can put my words together, and the ULTI.TV crew, Benji Reese, we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.